Welcome to the Jeffers Brief, only on Contra Radio Network.
And welcome to the Jeffers Brief. I'm John Jeffers, your host, founder, executive producer here at the Contra Radio Network, welcoming you to another episode of my show. Okay, before we get started, a couple things. One, as you may or may not be aware of, CRN is now an affiliate of Amazon. If you buy Amazon stuff, do me a favor, get a hold of me. Let's do the link. So anytime you buy something from Amazon, help support the show. I really appreciate it. I do. And bear in mind, we got a couple different things coming up. I've already alluded to a little bit. If you're with us on the Facebook group page, want to make sure that you know what's going on, what's happening. We're moving forward. We're expanding. We're getting more people, more listeners. Our move to Podbean has been really good. We've been, I think last 2 weeks we have 211 downloads. And we're going to have a handful of new episodes. We were able to bring all the episodes from Blog Talk Radio and put them on the Podbean account, so I'm very grateful for that. I hate to have to do those things all over again. Regardless, though, you know, as it comes to Facebook, if the problem that I have with Facebook is this, guys, and that is this, and it's serious. I could find another platform to take the Facebook group, the CRN group, over. The issue is how many people would actually follow us to the new platform. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have to find, you know, there's plenty of platforms out there that would respect our privacy and not sell us out for a profit. And the issue again becomes, is there, you know, would you guys follow? I don't know. Now, we are doing some other things. We did have Rob's show last night. When it was done, within 10 minutes, it was uploaded to the Podbean. It was uploaded to Live 365, and it went out to Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio. We just became a new one on iHeart. We're waiting for Spotify to get back to us. Bunch of other ones. FM player. I'm sorry, player.fm. So yeah, we're out there. So we're getting out there. So and TuneIn. I gotta get with TuneIn. For some reason they say allegedly, well, we can't find it. Well, you should find it. It's been there for 4 years, guys. Come on. But I'll have to go get hold of them and, you know, rock again with it. In the meantime, I got other things planned in the planning stages. Some of the projects I've got planned are the first phase is almost done, so I'm still working on that. Now today, I want to talk to you about, because chances are you're probably listening on your device. Now the good thing about Podbean is if you've got an Android device or an iOS, you know, Apple device, you can download the app and listen to the show through your phone. Now, a lot of you do. That's how you get a lot of your shows. We didn't have a lot of. We only had like. When I say a handful of listeners, I'm talking about maybe 4 or 5 during the live radio shows. Most of you downloaded the episodes as a podcast to listen to later on, so chances are you're probably driving to or from work and whatnot. You just want something to listen to, and I'm going to give you something to listen to. What I've got today is, I found this from Survival Sullivan, and I really liked it, and I think it goes to show, and I've said many times before, with preppers and patriots, many times that philosophy of life, it does intersect, it does overlap into both sides of that philosophy. You know, if you're a patriot, you're going to have a tendency to be a prepper, and if you're a prepper, you're going to have a tendency to be a patriot as well. So yeah, they do overlap. So today, you know, I want to talk to you about this. It's doomsday prepping. What you need to know. This is written by Megan Stewart. When did she write this? Anyways, I found it and I thought, you know, this is pretty good. I want to share it with you guys. You know, we've all seen episodes of Doomsday Preppers, the reality TV show, which showcases very extreme cases of individuals or families that are preparing for a major threat to our world as we know it. These families and at least 3 million more across the country are preparing to either bug in or in many cases bug out when the crap hits the fan. Bug in, bug out. It's a 50-50 proposition. Either you in or either you out. But you're one or the other. So let's give you a rundown about doomsday prepping and what you need to know. What exactly is it that preppers are afraid of? And the answer is not a damn thing. There are a wide variety of reasons why people become preppers. It's true. Their fears run the gamut from devastation resulting from natural disasters to robots or invading aliens taking over the world. Many preppers fear a domino effect that'll be ignited by one event and then cause several other events in rapid succession, leading to utter chaos and devastation. There are also different levels of prepping. Now, some people will prepare only to survive short-term minor events such as a flood or wildfire, which would require leaving their home for a period of several hours or days. Other preppers take prepping to a more extreme level. See, I don't call it extreme level. I call it more preparedness level. And are arming themselves, building underground bunkers, stockpiling food and water, which is what you'd be doing anyways. That's not being extreme. That's the whole idea of being a prepper, to survive a devastating event that will change the world as we know it. Now, we can categorize the things that preppers fear is coming into larger categories. There's usually three of them. One is Mother Nature does it her way, natural disasters. Two, oops, we did it ourselves, which are unintended consequences of progress. Three, they're coming for you. Terror attacks, invasions, war, whatnot. It's true. It really is. Oh, man. The weather's finally starting to break here in the northern tyranny state of Illinois. And my allergies are just off the freaking scale. Ugh. So, forgive me, please. Number one, Mother Nature does it her way. Let's talk about these things. A solar flare. Now, helioseismology is the study of the currents beneath the surface of the sun. Helioseismic detectors aboard the Solar Dynamics Observatory allowed researchers at Stanford University to detect magnetic bundles and predict their emergence as sunspots several days later. Gamma ray burst is an intense flash of light that momentarily eclipses anything else in the sky but then disappears. This is what you might see if you're able to see gamma ray burst. Now, astrophysicists believe that gamma ray bursts are caused when two collapsed stars merge together. Now, the Earth would initially be shielded by its own atmosphere, but the radiation exposure would devastate the ozone with nitrogen oxides. Now, we all know that without our ozone layer, humans would be subjected to devastating damage from the sun's ultraviolet rays. We can be anyways, case in point. Why do you think you get sunburned? Case in point. Let's talk about the New Madrid earthquake. Now, over 2 centuries ago, on December 16, 1811, history documented an earthquake of 7.7 magnitude that hit the New Madrid fault line. Now, the New Madrid fault line borders areas of Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois. In 1811, the shocks of this quake were felt as far away as New York City, but the area was sparsely populated and there were very few deaths. Now, if an earthquake today of that same magnitude were to hit the New Madrid fault line, it would have a much more serious impact on the 15 million people currently living in the quake zone. Now, it's estimated nearly 2 million people would be forced to immediately seek shelter, and over 7 million additional people would be displaced in the several weeks following the quake. Let's talk about asteroid impact. Now, asteroids are minor planets and/or rocky remnants of planets that are mainly found in the asteroid belt. These are quite far away from our planet Earth. However, they can break away and travel. They have in the past fallen toward Earth. Many preppers fear that an asteroid large enough to result in widespread damage to an entire region or even our entire planet is only a matter of time. Think of the movie Deep Impact. Yeah. Additional natural disasters that preppers fear could devastate the Earth. Rogue black holes, with a gravitational pull so strong it could swallow everything. Volcanic eruptions, similar in magnitude to when the Laki volcano in Iceland erupted in 1783. A global pandemic caused by a spread of bird flu, SARS, or another disease, Ebola. So let's look at the second category. Oops, we did it ourselves. Now, they have global warming listed. I'm not a subscriber to global warming. I don't believe in it. I think it's nonsense. I think it's only put there because there are certain scientists who wanted to try and, they wanted to make a buck or two, and they did. So, no matter which side of the political fence you stand on, it's pretty hard not to see that climate of our planet has been changing rapidly over the last several decades, which is nonsense. I encourage you. Let me do this right now, because this is I just can't stand it. I said I'm not a subscriber to it, but what I will do this is I found this. I went to NASA's website, and they have said, hold on. Let me see what they had, what they say here. The global temperature. This is from the NASA website right now, March 27th, 2018 at 4:32 p.m. The global temperature in Fahrenheit since 1880 has only gone up 1.8 degrees. There you go. Now they say the carbon dioxide is at went up 407.61 parts per million. Arctic ice minimum is down 13.2% per decade. Again, land ice is down 286 gigatons per year. Okay. So the global temperature has only gone up 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit since 1880. That's well over, that's what, 120, 130 years? Is that right? 140 years? Maybe. Not doing math quick on the run here, but I wanted to point that out, so that's why I don't buy it, okay? And again, Miss Megan, when she wrote this article, and it's like, come on, really? Megan Stewart, she sat there and wrote, and it says, it's undeniably one of the biggest threats facing our planet today. I don't think so. All kinds of changes in our planet could occur quite rapidly, leaving Earth uninhabitable for any life forms, let alone humans. Predictions indicate we could reach the tipping point, and the point at which there's nothing we can do to reverse it by 2020. For those of you who are bad at math, that's in 2 years. I don't buy the global warming thing. I don't, and I just told you why. Earth goes through changes constantly. Now, I'm not saying there are preppers out there that are stupid. If you're prepping because of global warming, okay, great. At least you're prepping. I'm not prepping for global warming. Not buying it, not doing it. Okay? That's me. That's me, Johnny Vegas. That's the way I play it. Number 2 is economic collapse. Now, even preppers who might be preparing for a catastrophic natural disaster or chaos resulting from World War III note that the economy itself is in danger of collapsing. Even without any additional catastrophic events, the collapse of the economy as we know it is inevitable. If we keep going the way it is inevitable. You can't keep spending money that you don't have. You just can't. Ecosystem collapse. Now, the actions and behavior of our human population growth and progresses are wreaking havoc on our ecosystem. Now, we already know that primitive peoples using spears and bow and arrow hunting methods caused the extinction of half of the large body mammals that lived in the world. No. I disagree with that entirely. The modern man uses guns and more effective hunting methods, which mean our destruction of the mammals is happening at even a faster rate. That I will agree with. So you couple this with land clearing and the chemicals we are introducing to the environment, and over 30,000 types of animals disappear annually due to human activity. That I disagree with. 30,000 types of animals just disappear. If that is the case, we wouldn't have any animals on the planet right now. So I have to question where Miss Megan got her information. All right, let's talk about biotech disaster. There are a wide variety of biotechnical advances that have the potential to devastate our planet. Many preppers are concerned about this type of devastation, which is why they have turned to homesteading and monitoring what goes into their bodies. Biotechnology is the science of tapping into the cellular and biomolecular processes to develop things that are better, that better the planet and our lives. A few of these advances have occurred over the last half a century, but come with the potential to get out of control and devastate humanity as well, include GMO crops, engineered microbes, gene therapy, nanotechnology, and bioengineered mutations of diseases such as the H5N1 bird flu that could inadvertently be released into the population. Let's talk about artificial intelligence takeover. The path of progress has led us to create increasingly intelligent machines, first automated and more recently actually artificially intelligent. Now, these machines are actually capable of intelligent thought and critical thinking. There then becomes the potential for these artificial beings to decide that humans are less valuable and or a target for extinction at some point in the future. That's a theory straight out of the cinema, closely resembling the movie I, Robot, starring the great pretender Will Smith. That's what I call actors and actresses now. Overpaid great pretenders, because that's all they do. They play pretend. And they get paid a ridiculous amount of money for playing pretend. They really do. Let's talk about overpopulation. Our current fertility rates, combined with an extended average lifespan, have us on track to more than triple the world population in a relatively short period of time. The fear then is that our population would outgrow the planet's capability to support that many human lives. Depleted natural resources, overcrowding, sanitation, and other issues related to the dense population would lead to a cataclysmic extinction. Now, let's talk about number 3. What you gonna do when they come for you, basically, is the title of this one, and that's true. Let's talk about EMP attack. For you newbies out there, you're new to prepping, you hear all these terms. I did post, I made a post on the group page there on Facebook, 50 prepper terms, or a glossary for new preppers. If you don't know what, you hear something, somebody calls it out by their initials or some other name you're not sure, look it up. It's there for your education. You can't know if you don't know. All right? It's okay to be ignorant, but it's not okay to be ignorant forever. It just isn't. And many times, go check your local news tonight. You'll see what happens. What happens? You become ignorant forever. A stream of wave of electromagnetic pulse or a current is called an EMP, or electromagnetic pulse. Now, an EMP can be caused by a nuclear explosion, which sends out a wave of electromagnetic radiation called a NEMP, nuclear EMP, an EMP, or nuclear EMP. I got it. Now, the fear of an impending EMP or NEMP event is the main reason that preppers are pulling together their bug-out bags and planning to either bug in or bug out, depending on the location in relation to where the EMP occurs. Yeah, right. Now, a good number of preppers fear that an EMP is a likely scenario for people living today. Oh, man, excuse me. All right. I want to take a few minutes here. Let's talk about this. My conversation with T.D. Barnes, that you can find the interview, is this. One of the things you need to realize is that a very basic primary strategy for any nuclear power that has nuclear weapons and are planning to launch them, the first strike is an EMP strike. You're saying, well, what the hell do you do that? What they do is this. For example, here in the United States, they would ignite a nuclear warhead over the state of, somewhere close or over the state of Nebraska at an altitude of 120, maybe 140 miles. When that ignites, the resulting EMP will wipe out the U.S. electric grid. Now, there's also a possibility you could have a regional EMP. For example, you have a dirty nuclear weapon, you set it off by a power plant. You're not going to get the huge devastation wiping out effect of the entire electric grid. What you'll get is a regional area of the country with an EMP problem where it overloads the electric grid and shuts it down. And that's only because it's a small nuclear device. It is not a large ballistic missile being detonated with megatons over the state of Nebraska. There's a difference. Now, as I was saying, the basic strategy in any nuclear attack, the first strike is an EMP strike. Obviously, to wipe out their electric grid, you can interrupt or disrupt or wipe out their command and control options, and from there you can go cherry picking your targets as you move along, as the Earth rotates, and just call out your shots. All right, there you go. Get back to it. Let's talk about global nuclear war, which we were just doing. The events occurring around the world today are leading us toward a global world war with China, Russia, and the U.S. We already know that the media's main purpose now is to either downplay, which is what they did during the Obama years, or exaggerate actual events, which is what they're doing now, that are occurring, and to keep citizens distracted from what is really occurring in the world. Now, China and Russia have begun making agreements. How do they know this? China and Russia have begun making agreements that will put them at direct odds with the United States in the coming conflict. How do they know this? I don't know. I have no idea what sources Miss Megan has when she wrote the article. But if it's anything close to what she wrote about global warming, I have to call it into question. Nonetheless, it's information. We take all the information, we digest it, we assign the values to it ourselves as to how important they are and whether or not we should pay attention or listen to it. That's what we do. That's what you need to do. That's what we do as individuals here on the Contra Radio Network. Now let's talk about divine intervention. Got a lot of Christian preppers, and prepping is in the Bible. But you'll never find the word prepping, but you will definitely find some of the parables talking about it. Some of the lessons that, especially in the New Testament, that talks about prepping. I said you'll never find the word prepping, but you will see the principles, or you'll read about the principles being applied even back, over 2,000 years ago. So, every religion has its prophecy, which heralds the coming events that signal the ushering of a new, more morally pure world. Now, this kind of apocalyptic divine intervention has been predicted as far back as Egyptian mythology. Whether you follow the Book of Revelation, Book of Daniel, or are awaiting the arrival of the third son of Zoroaster, many believe that the signs of this apocalyptic event have already begun. Now, let's talk about this. Zombie apocalypse, all right? Just hear me out. I know a lot of you are getting ready to drive your cars into the ditch when I said that. Please get control of your vehicles. No, really. The so-called zombie apocalypse, many believe, will be caused by either the latest flakka drug or something similar. Or for some preppers, it simply refers to a catastrophic economic collapse or another disaster that creates starving, desperate people who will roam the land in hordes looking for food, water, and other basic needs. So that leaves the question is this: is there really any merit to their fears? Many people may find it difficult to take some of these threats seriously because, well, let's face it, some of the best survival movies and TV shows, and especially the Doomsday Prepper reality shows, have dramatized many of these scenarios to the point of what? No return. But for those who are aware that a piece of a comet, some 200 feet in width, actually hit the Earth in 1908 and destroyed over 700 square miles of woods in Siberia, I believe it's called the Tunguska event, things get a bit closer to home. So for those who know how many asteroids are in the sky, and that would only take an asteroid 5 feet in width to create devastation, resulting in a major extinction similar to that of the dinosaurs, prepping becomes a bit more crucial. For preppers who have been paying attention to global warming changes and the effects of GMO and other biotech processes on our food supply, the dangers are real. And learning to plant a survival garden doesn't seem like such a bad idea anymore. So if you are brave enough to look closely and do some thorough research, what you find out may just spur you to join the prepper movement to protect yourself and your family. For anyone who can see signs that our world population is multiplying in a way that isn't sustainable, creating a survival war plan and which foods to hoard, Seems like the most logical thing to do. Most preppers are not taking things to extreme like those families showcased on Doomsday Prepper reality shows. But they are doing what they can do to be prepared to feed themselves and their families as a way to protect, what they have from others who may not have prepared as well and have decided they're going to rely on the government for their well-being and safety. God love them. Okay, so what is Preppy really all about? Now, it's a known fact that people fear what they do not understand. Many people do not understand much about prepping. The media and powers that be play into the fear people have by showcasing the most extreme example of preppers. And because of this, there's a tendency to believe that all, let's say it together, my friends, preppers are crazy. But prepping is by no means a new trend. No. There have always been individuals and groups of people who worried about impending disasters and did what they could do to be prepared. In fact, many areas have entire emergency management response teams that are specifically designed to educate, inform, and prepare people on how to react during a widespread emergency. Now, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, known as FEMA, is an agency at the federal level charged with providing the best resources and support to the people of the United States, not just during disasters, but before and after such an event as well. Now, I got to tell you, folks, I would never want to be the head of FEMA because it's an impossible task. At least the government's trying. But it's an impossible task. There are 320 million Americans. Well, 320 million people living in this country. Only 3 million are actual preppers. It may be a little bit higher depending on your level of preparedness, but still that would leave 317 million people who are going to leave their well-being and safety to the government and hope that they can come and give them food and water and shelter. You know what? No. But that's why. I mean, as I said, FEMA is an impossible task for the government. And granted, they spend a lot of money getting stuff together. For what they're trying to do, I applaud them. Do they screw up? Yeah. Are they gonna make mistakes? Yep. Are they trying? Yep. But at least it's something. But for us here at Contrario Network, we know that we are preppers. We are prepping ourselves. We are not going to rely on the government to help us. Mainly because they may not be able to. But getting back to it, many of these people who were adults or children during the Great Depression era have a tendency to live frugally, to ferret out free food, or to save that piece of foil to reuse later. You know what I'm talking about? Father and my uncle were always trying to save a buck or save something for a rainy day. If you were in the hospital and didn't eat your applesauce or drink that little mini can of ginger ale, my uncle would tuck in his pocket, just in case I get hungry later, or I'll save this for lunch tomorrow. Now, as we talked about, the number of preppers throughout the United States is estimated around 3 million. Now, I think that the number of people who are preparing for a future uncertainty might be higher. I don't know how much higher, but higher. Now, many of them may not even identify themselves as preppers. I mean, why do we worry about retirement accounts, fire or flood insurance, or car insurance? It's because we anticipate something in the future may upset our daily life, and we want to be ready for it. There are many people who take extra precautions to prepare for a flood, fire, or tornado to come their way, though not on a doomsday level. But that is a form of prepping. So, are doomsday preppers just crazy? Well, some of them, yeah, they are. They have taken prepping to extreme measures. I've told you before, if you're new and you haven't heard this, I know a woman. I see her at the bar on occasion. And I said, aren't you married? She goes, yeah, but he won't leave the house. I said, why? And she's told me this, and I just like, wow. And what she said was her husband won't leave the house because he's watching the news because if something happens, he wants to be ready. That is not extreme. That is to the point you've affected your life to the point you're not even living your life anymore. Something to think about, and and I've talked about this, in the past, and maybe we need to talk about it again. But the majority of preppers are just people who are concerned with the impact of future events on their ability to survive and live their lives as normally as possible after a critical event has taken place. They have taken upon themselves to prepare in the best way they can to protect themselves and their families, and in some cases their neighbors as well. It's true. So maybe, just maybe, it's not the preppers who are crazy. Perhaps the crazy ones are those individuals who either cannot see the major changes that have occurred in the world, or worse, those that can see some signs of what could happen, but just aren't motivated to do anything about it. We call them armchair preppers. Oh, they'll talk about it. They'll pontificate about it. And they'll share their knowledge with you about it, but they aren't going to do a damn thing to help themselves. Get ready. So, if everyone in our world knew more about how to respond and how to prepare for hurricanes, wildfires, and earthquakes, lives would be saved. If more people were prepared to handle personal emergencies and trauma, such as car accidents, heat waves, accidental drowning, snake bites, or had a plan when it became necessary to evacuate their home, even for a short time, lives would be saved. If more people grew their own food, knew how to preserve and can it for use when money got tight later in the year, fewer people would be stressed out and unhappy when times get tough. For some people, prepping is simply about knowing they have done what they can to be ready for whatever life may throw at them. It's about knowing that they can do their best to protect their families and friends. It's about not being dependent on or waiting around for the government to show up to rescue you like the people had to do following Hurricane Katrina. A personal note. The people that were still in New Orleans, that's their fault when Katrina hit. They tried to get everybody out there, and you know how people do it to this day. Hurricane's coming, I'm just going to wait it out. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to live. I'm going to wait it out. Oh, okay. And then when it all blows up in their face, oh, come save me. Oh, I don't think so. You know, sometimes you've seen the videos of the clowns when the hurricanes, you know, just before it hits, and they got the high winds, you got people out there windsurfing and all that stuff, and the rough water out there, and so, and then next thing you know, well, they're caught, and they want somebody to come save them. Oh, I don't think so. And I think it's the correct decision when police and fire departments say, you were told not to, but you did it anyways. We're not going to risk our lives because you were stupid and decided you had to do that. That's called thinning the herd. I've got no problem with them saying, no, we're not going to come get you. But let's get back to, deep down, prepping isn't crazy at all. It's about survival, independence, and freedom for yourself and your family. What do you think? Yeah? Yeah? Good. Just think about it. I'll tell you whether I agree with something or not, and I have. And I'll probably, and there are some people I will catch some flack from saying, how can you not believe in global warming? How can you believe that it's real? Well, I just went to the NASA website. I told you, in the past 140 years, it's only gone up 1.8 degrees. 1.8. No. What the real thing is this whole global warming thing, or they call it, well, they stopped calling it global warming because it's starting to cool off, so they changed the name. They now call it climate change. The planet, this is an active planet. Active planets go through these changes all the time. They do. And if it weren't for the written record, we really wouldn't even know about it because of human life expectancy. But regardless, that's another issue. I wanted to say something about the Podbean. I want to thank you all for subscribing to it. In case you didn't know, like I said, if you have an iOS or a Android device, you can download Podbean.com, the app, and you can listen to the show through that. We were off the air really for like 8 weeks. 8 weeks we were off the air. One thing I want to tell you is that we didn't lose one subscriber on Patreon.com. Thank you guys for supporting us and holding fast to us. And something else. We've only got some new episodes on there on the Podbean. It's not even been a month. I think it's only been, 2, maybe 3 weeks. We have 211. Was it 211? No, I think it's more. Last time I checked, it was like 211 downloads. I think it's much higher than that now. Get the word out. Keep going. Next month, we are going to have another giveaway. Giveaway coming up. So, we will put it out there. Giveaway. It's called John, that's me, your host, bribing people to listen to Contra Radio Network. That's what it comes down to. Yes, I am. All right. So for my, I'm gonna call it quits for the this episode because I'm trying to keep it down to 30 minutes or less. I'm John Jeffers here at the Contra Radio Network, saying to my prepper and patriot friends, be safe, be alert, be vigilant. I'm John Jeffers here at the Contra Radio Network, the Jeffers Brief, saying thanks for listening. We'll catch you later.